Welcome back to another video on calculating Virginia child support. This video will focus on how to calculate a service member's monthly gross income using his or her leave and earnings statement, known as the LES. The video is a nuts and bolts video from a child support perspective. To get an in-depth view on military pay, allowances, and bonuses, check out the Department of Defense Finance and Accounting Service website at www.dfas.mil or the Military OneSource website at www.militaryonesource.mil. But for today we are going to review the LES, with the goal of calculating the gross monthly income for Virginia child support. So let's get started. Virginia Code Section 20-108.2 Section C defines gross income to mean income from all sources. Military pay, allowances, and bonuses are considered income. For child support purposes, it does not matter whether the military pay, allowances, or bonuses are taxable or non-taxable. These items are counted as income for child support purposes. With that in mind, let's take a look at the military leave and earnings statement. The military leave and earnings statement, known as the LES, is a current depiction of a service member's pay and entitlements as of the period covered. It captures entitlements, deductions, allotments, leave information, tax withholdings, and thrift savings plan information. In other words, an LES is a military pay stub. Like ordinary pay stubs, the LES can be of great assistance in calculating the presumptive child support amount. Like an ordinary pay stub, the LES documents current earnings, health insurance premium costs, etc. The most recent LES can be found 24 hours a day on my pay website. For this example, we will look at an active Army LES. For other services and components, the LES is laid out similarly. For demonstration purposes, let's break the LES down into 4 sections: Service Member Information Section, Column Section, Multi-Field Section, and the Remarks Section. The Service Member Information Section contains identification information on the service member, including the service member's name, Social Security number, grade, pay date, years of service, branch, and pay period. In this example, Jack Reacher is an E6 in the Army with 20 years of service. His first day of basic training was on August 8, 2001, which is reflected as his pay date, and his expiration term of service ended, or ETS, is October 31, 2022. This LES covers November 2021. Don't let the pay date confuse you. You would think pay date would reflect the date Jack is going to get paid, but that is not the case. Pay date reflects the date Jack started working for the military, which here was his first day of boot camp. The column section is divided into 4 columns: entitlements, deductions, allotments, and summary. For determining gross monthly income, the entitlement section is key. For calculating child support, all pay and allowances are all included as part of the monthly gross income. Base pay is the fundamental component of military pay. All members receive it, and typically it is the largest component of a member's pay. A member's grade, usually the same as rank, and years of service determines the amount of basic pay received. The other pays, often referred to as special and incentive pays, are for specific qualifications or events. For example, there are special pays for aviators and parachutists. Special pays are also paid for dangerous or hardship duties. Here Mr. Reacher only receives base pay, however, he does receive 2 allowances. Allowances are the second most important element of military pay. Allowances are monies provided for specific needs such as food or housing. Monetary allowances are provided when the government does not provide for that specific need. BAS stands for Basic Allowance for Subsistence and is meant to offset costs for meals. For 2024, enlisted members receive $460.25 per month, and officers receive $316.98 per month. If the military has a meal plan at the military installation, the military will charge the service member for that meal plan, which will be found in the deduction column of the LES. Even if the meal plan cost is showing as a deduction, the BAS amount is added to the monthly gross income for calculating child support. Here, the military has not placed Mr. Reacher on a meal plan. BAH stands for Basic Allowance for Housing. BAH is an allowance to offset the cost of housing when the service member does not receive government-provided housing. The service member's BAH depends upon his or her location, pay grade, and whether he or she has dependents. BAH rates are set by surveying the cost of rental properties in each geographic location. Therefore, BAH rates in high-cost areas will be much greater than those in low-cost areas. For the past several years, the military has privatized military housing. Like with meal plans, the military charges the service member for living in the privatized military housing and deducts the cost for this housing under deductions. Even though the LES reflects this housing cost to the service member in the deduction column, the entire BAH amount is considered monthly gross income for child support purposes. While BAH and BAS are paid monthly, some allowances are paid out once a year, such as clothing allowance. These allowances should be amortized over 12 months. For example, if Jack received a $1,200 annual clothing allowance, for child support purposes it should be included as $100 monthly income. Despite allowances not being taxable, allowances are considered income for child support purposes. In other words, Virginia law requires that these non-taxable allowances be treated as income for child support purposes. Let me repeat for a third time because it is that important. Allowances such as BAS and BAH are treated as income for child support purposes. In most instances, the total entitlements, located at the bottom of the entitlements column, reflect the service member's monthly gross income. A way to verify whether the total entitlements accurately reflects monthly gross income is to compare the amount to the year-to-date entitlements amount found at the top of the remarks section. For Mr. Reacher, you would divide 11 into his $74,013.94, his year-to-date entitlements, to arrive at $6,728.54. Why divide by 11? Yes, you are correct, because November is the 11th month. With Mr. Reacher, there is a minor discrepancy between the two amounts. The amortized year-to-date entitlement is $40.84 higher than the total entitlement amount found in the entitlements column. This discrepancy may lead to further inquiry with the service member, especially where there is a large discrepancy between the two amounts. The deduction column includes such items as tax deductions that you would see on any pay stub, SGLI or term life insurance cost, mid-month pay, and child support garnishments, if any. In most instances, the deduction column will not provide any necessary amounts for calculating the monthly presumptive child support amount, since the presumptive guidelines does not adjust for taxes. The one exception is child support garnishments. Child support garnishments, which in child support jargon is referred to as a wage withholding, will also appear in the deductions column. If the child support garnishment is for other children not involved in this support matter, the parent's monthly gross income should be adjusted downward. The downward adjustment should only be for the current monthly child support obligation. In other words, the parent's monthly gross income is not adjusted downward for arrearage repayments. If the child support garnishment contains monthly repayment for arrears, then it will need to be determined how much is for ongoing monthly child support and how much is going for arrears. The monthly gross income should only be adjusted downward for monthly ongoing child support. For example, if Mr. Reacher had a $500 child support garnishment of which $350 was for ongoing support and $150 was for arrears repayment, Mr. Reacher's gross income would be adjusted downward for only the $350 ongoing support. While child support garnishments are paid to DCSE, child support allotments can be paid directly to the party receiving the child support. If the service member has established a child support allotment, the allotment will appear in the allotments column. There are two types of allotments: discretionary and non-discretionary allotments. Discretionary allotments are voluntary allotments set up by the service member, while non-discretionary allotments are mandatory allotments. The military may mandate a non-discretionary child support allotment when the service member is not paying his or her child support or meeting the financial needs of his or her dependents. Insurance premiums may also appear in the allotment section. Here, Mr. Reacher has an allotment of $30.28 going out each month to TRICARE Dental. The last column, the summary column, subtracts the monthly total deductions and allotments from the total monthly entitlements to arrive at the service member's end of the month pay, referred to as EOM pay. Here, Mr. Reacher will receive $2,172.08 on December 1, 2021, for the work he performed in November 2021. So you ask, why doesn't he receive the full amount? Great question. Mr. Reacher already received a $2,172.62 advance on November 15, 2021, as evidenced in the deduction column with his mid-month pay. The multi-column fields found below the column section is divided into 3 sections: taxes, paid data, and retirement contributions. Like with any pay stub, the tax section provides information on federal taxes, state taxes, and Social Security taxes. Do not use the wages listed in this section to calculate monthly gross income because the wages in the tax section only includes taxable income and leaves out the allowances such as BAH and BAS. As we discussed before, allowances are included in calculating the service member's monthly gross income. The paid data section lists specific entitlements, such as basic allowance for quarters, which was the basic allowance for housing's former name. The third section provides information on the service member's contributions to the federal retirement plans. These plans are similar to an IRA. The last part of the leave and earnings statement is the remarks section. The most important item for child support purposes is the year-to-date entitlement amount listed on the top of the remarks section. As we discussed before, use this amount to double-check the accuracy of the total entitlement amount, located in the Entitlements column. If there is a major discrepancy between the two, then there needs to be an inquiry to explain the discrepancy. For example, if Mr. Reacher's year-to-date entitlement amount was $125,000 instead of $74,013.94, we would divide the $125,000 by 11 to arrive at $11,363.64, the average monthly amount. Comparing the $11,363.64 to the $6,687.70 monthly entitlement amount, we would arrive at $4,675.94 discrepancy. Here we would have to inquire with Mr. Reacher, why is there such a discrepancy? Discrepancies will come from special pays, bonuses, or allowances that were paid previously in the calendar year but are not currently being paid. Examples include hazardous duty pay, a re-enlistment bonus, and a relocation allowance, known as a dislocation allowance, and is paid when the service member has a permanent change of station. Let's review. All entitlements are included as income, which includes pays and allowances. No matter whether these entitlements are taxable or not, they are all included as income. Do not adjust a parent's income downward based on garnished monthly arrearage repayments found in the deduction section. Income should only be adjusted downward for the garnished monthly ongoing child support paid for other children. Lastly, compare the total entitlements amount found in the entitlement section with the year-to-date entitlements amount in the remarks section to verify no significant discrepancies. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.